Tonight's anime review was requested by OAW Faithful, J Hollow. Salute to you, sir. And if you have a request for an anime that you would like to see reviewed right here on OAW Entertainment, become a patron at patreon.com/OAW and select the Crunchyroll tier. At that tier, you can request either an anime OVA, an anime short film, or the first two episodes of an anime series for a first impression style video. Not only that, you also get access to all Patreon exclusive content. You get access to the OAW Vault, which is the original first two seasons of Otaku Assemble Weekly, the anime and manga review web series that kicked off the channel, and you get an invite to join in on the live monthly Q&A that's held right here on the OAW Entertainment YouTube channel, as well as the OAW Entertainment Facebook page. So once again, that is patreon.com/OAW and select the Crunchyroll tier. And with that being said, this is going to be my review of the 1993 anime OVA Big Wars. Let's get on with it.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Greetings to everyone watching live and everyone watching after the fact. Shout out to the faithful and salute to the patrons. This is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, here to bring you all another anime review. And this week, I am taking a look at, once again, the 1993. Oh, snap. My man Jay Hollow is in the building. Salute to you, sir. Glad that you could make it. So I am going to go ahead and give you all my thoughts on the 1993 Japanese anime OVA Big Wars. This is another old school, sort of obscure joint, but I think you all will get a kick out of it. Now, if you guys, real quick, got to throw this out there. If you guys have questions or comments that you want to make sure get read right here live on the broadcast before the end of tonight's video, please feel free to drop a super chat in the comments. You guys can also support the channel via Cash App and PayPal. Those links are also in the description box below. But since I'm talking about the description box, please feel free to hit read more on the description box, because we are going to go ahead and I'm going to give you all the background information and summary of this OVA. Oh, and for the record, I do want to mention this real quick. I hope y'all do read along for this one, because I actually had to piece together this summary myself. There was not a single definitive summary for this OVA, so I actually had to piece this together from 3 different summaries that I found online. So please show your boy some love, click read more in the description box, and read along with me. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. All right. So this is my review of the 1993 Japanese anime science fiction film Big Wars, also known as Big Wars Red Zone Divine Annihilation, written by Kazumi Koide and directed by Kazunari Kume and Toshifumi Takizawa. The film was produced by animation studio Magic Bus and distributed in the US by entertainment company Central Park Media. And here's the synopsis. Are you guys ready? I think I should do like a dramatic reading. Okay, let's go for it. In the dawn of the 25th century, mankind has terraformed and colonized Mars. But an ancient race of aliens known as the gods have returned to halt mankind's expansion into space. Now, mankind fights a desperate battle with every weapon at its disposal, such as hyper-advanced aircrafts, orbital fighters, and gigantic desert battleships. The aliens have impressive weapons as well, including an unstoppable stealth carrier and a mind control plague that transforms even the most loyal soldiers into dangerous subversives. Humanity's last hope rests on the shoulders of Captain Akuh and the crew of the Battleship Aoba. They are assigned a top secret mission against the aliens, which, if successful, could mean the end of the war. How's that for a dramatic reading? How y'all like that? How y'all like that? Yeah. That is as detailed as well as descriptive of a synopsis that I myself could compose without giving too much away. But that pretty much gives you all the backdrop and pretty much what the main conflict of the film is about. I'll go into a little bit more detail though. So yeah, so Big Wars, we're talking futuristic. I would argue even like traditional science fiction fare. but we're in the future. We're on Mars, and essentially, it is a war. We're in the middle of a war between mankind and between an alien race, which, as I mentioned in the synopsis, they are titled the gods. I'll get into a little bit more detail with that later. But yeah, and so pretty much they're fighting for Mars. The gods want to wipe humans from Mars, and of course the humans are trying to make Mars a new colony for themselves, and that's where that's pretty much where we are. I think this is the war has actually been going on for I think over 100 years now. At the start of the film, it's been a long time, and but yeah, but essentially this is sort of the moment in the war. This is the turn tide, if you will. This is the turn tide, because what the humans have managed to do is they've managed to essentially they have managed to salvage one of their battleships, and they've rebuilt it and sort of refit it to be a stealth ship. And so the plan is to bring back Captain Akuh, who is the original captain of the battleship before it got scrapped, and to join him with a bunch of other veterans who have already been fighting this war in multiple other battles. And essentially it's like a last ditch stealth effort to infiltrate the god stealth carrier, which is appropriately titled Hell. They're going to infiltrate that stealth carrier and essentially plant a bomb inside in order to take the whole thing down. So the best way I can really describe to you all, like if I had to describe this movie in sort of like layman's terms for somebody on the street, this is pretty much what I would describe it as. It's Independence Day meets the faculty. For any of you all who are fans of that film, Robert Rodriguez, The Faculty, because one of the main crux of this story, one of the main like subplots, is that the aliens, of course, they have the ability to mind control humans. And what they do is they take those human insurgents and they pretty much plant them within the human operations so that they can create, sabotage from within. So yeah, it's very much. I wouldn't go as far as to say like body snatchers, because it's all mental, and it's not an implant of aliens into people's bodies per se, but it's just enough influence to get those people to pretty much operate with a hive mentality. So that's why I kind of likened it to the faculty. I know the faculty actually has alien like bugs that infiltrate people, but no, the way it's done in this film is more like telepathy. But even still, like I said, that those if you guys have seen those two movies, imagine those two plots sort of mesh together, and that's pretty much what you have with Big Wars, except it's animated, it's in the future, it's sci-fi, and that sort of deal. All right, so let me start talking about the story. All right. Story wise, it's solid. The plot is solid. The plot is solid. For the most part, like I did not find any contrivances. I didn't find any plot holes or anything like that. Like everything for the most part pretty much added up. And I like there's a couple of twists. But if you pay close enough attention, you can kind of see it beforehand. Like it's not totally out of the blue. Some of the twists and turns in the film. Um, and also like I like how the film there is constantly the question, right? Because remember what I mentioned about subversion, that mind control that the aliens can make. That thing is constantly questioned in the movie. You're constantly questioning like who's being controlled, whether or not you can trust this person, whether or not you can trust that person, to what degree are they being controlled. Like that's something. It's not just a little subplot that, oh, it happens to one of the main characters and then afterwards we're done with it. It's like, no, it's present throughout the entire freaking movie. The other thing that's cool about it too is it does come like, even when we've pretty much like seen it happen in the movie, when we see it depicted and we see like the damage that it can cause, and we see how it's sort of not prevented but pretty much how it's engaged. Even with that, like it pops back up later in the movie into a place where it's like, okay, now I don't know how you're going to figure way yourself out of that one. Just don't know. But it was really, really cool. And it does a really good job building the tension, especially during the third act and during the climax of the film. So yeah, plot wise, it's pretty good. Plot wise, it's solid. Story wise, though, I found it very intriguing, specifically the notion. Remember what I said about the aliens being called the gods? Well, the reason why that is because, according to the film, I guess you could say it's history or it's mythology. This is an ancient race of aliens. And the idea is sort of that Prometheus thing. For any of you all who have seen that movie, hopefully not a lot of y'all have, because I don't recommend it. But if you saw Prometheus, pretty much the initial concept with that film is that aliens created life on Earth. So we are all descendants, or rather the creations of said aliens, right? Well, this movie's pretty much doing the same thing. But what it is about the gods, though, they don't just create humans, they actually create all life in the universe. And that's sort of their main motivation for engaging in this war with humanity on Mars, because their stance is it's like we created every planet and then we created life on every planet so that those life forms can have their own territories. Like everyone has their own territory. By mankind trying to colonize Mars, we were stepping out of our territory, and we were pretty much encroaching on other life forms territories, and those aliens didn't like that. They were like, no, y'all need to be put back in check. Y'all need to go back to your blue little planet and leave Mars alone. That's pretty much what their stick is. And I dug that. That was pretty cool. It's cool that they incorporated that concept the way they did, but it's also cool the stance, because it does sound like something coming from a divine being or a divine race, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, we have this sort of like decree from heaven or this mandate from heaven going on. That's pretty cool. I dug that. Okay, let's talk about the characters in this, because nice segue actually, because I want to talk more about the gods in the character portion. One of the things, however, that I am critical about this film for is the fact that we don't spend enough time with the gods. We really don't. And there is not a single character. There's the gods, they don't have a main character in this movie. They are very much like in the background. That's why I kept liking it to Independence Day, because yeah, we get to see some of them, but we don't actually like engage with them in the sense that, they have characters that are exchanging dialogue. We're getting backstories and this is that and the other. Not really. They're more of just a force of nature, essentially, is what the aliens in this film are. They're a presence. They're an ever-present presence, but they're pretty much in the background for the most part. The only time we actually get to see them is when they're flying these badass spaceships over to, right next to me. Yeah, we do get to see some of the pilots, but even with the pilots, they all look alike and they look human. So it's like, so we don't actually get to see, we don't actually get to see the gods, not really. Even once we get into the ship, the same thing. We get to see their technology, which is pretty cool, but we don't get to see them. And that's the one thing I kind of wish we had. I wish there was either, like, if you're not going to give us like, a general or a captain or a lieutenant or something like that, give us one of the fighter pilots. I thought that's what they were going to do, but then we end up finding out something different with that pilot. And I won't spoil with you guys what happens with that pilot, but yeah, I thought that pilot was going to sort of be our window character, and they weren't. So that's one of the things I'm critical of. Next, though, let's talk about the humans. Captain Aku, I like him. I like him. I didn't at first, but once we start to learn a little bit more about him, and once you really get to see him in action, I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, I see. Number one, I see why. Number one, I see how he became a captain in the first place, how he earned his stripes. That's number one. Number two, I see why it was they recruited him back for this mission. That's number two. And then number three, I'm sorry. Number three, I see why he was the best one suited for the mission, right? Because there's a difference to being assigned a mission and actually being the man for the job. So I see why he was suitable for said mission. And then number four, I see why he is our main character in this film. Yeah, yeah. The guy is worth his stripes. He really is. That's pretty cool. Now, so I mean, he is the character we do spend the most time with. So there are several other smaller, like more supporting characters. And what's funny is we do sort of get like backstories with them and whatnot, which I thought was kind of odd because they don't really play that much. They, like I said, they don't really play a large role per se. They're sort of set pieces almost, right? So we have like the ships, the battleship Aoba. We have like the engineer, and we get to learn a little bit about him. We get to learn some of his backstory, why he joined the military in the first place, that sort of thing. And then there are some of the other soldiers who are like right under the captain, right? So we get to learn a little bit more about them, right? And like I said, and then even the psychiatrist, the ship psychiatrist, even her, like we get a little bit of like backstory on her too. And the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, but why does any of this matter though? Until we get to the climax. And it's like, oh, that's why they shared that information with us. I'm not going to tell y'all what happens. I'm just going to say those backstories that I thought were sort of superfluous, given the character, they play a role later on. And I'm like, okay, so we pay that off. Good job. Let's see. There is another character. Well, okay, there are two other characters. One is the head of intelligence, right? For the what is it? What is it called? It's Achilles. What it actually? Hang on, I'm about to look this up. Real. What is the name of the base that they are at? Um, because remember, like the whole story takes place on Mars, and the base that they are at in the film is like sort of like an outpost. But I mean, it's like the how do I put that? It's like the last front, right? Like the final frontier. Like that's sort of like their last outpost. And man, I cannot remember. I think Achilles Falls is the name of it. I think that's the name of the town. And so there is the head of intelligence at the base, right? He's one of those characters that like you spend the movie trying to figure out. And then of course, there's Lieutenant Darza, who is Captain Aku's love interest, but she is also a former intelligence operative, I believe. So and she's kind of like the linchpin in the main conflict because she's the one that pretty much provides Aku with the multitude of information he learns about, what's been going on in the war and how, what's been going on at the base and, what have they learned about the aliens so far and what is subversion, how does it work, what to look out for, all of these type of things, right? Like she really is sort of like the gatekeeper, if you will, for us the audience, because once again, she's a former intelligence operative, and she's the one that's not secretive about it, right? Like her former supervisor, like that dude isn't trying to share information with anybody. He's just trying to collect information from everybody, which is what makes him suspect. She's actually helping the effort by providing information. And like I said, she is a major player in what happens in the film. Now, I won't tell you everything that happens with her, but yeah, she's kind. I mean, I would argue she's probably the second. Yeah, she's the second biggest character in the film, and she's pretty good too. I almost kind of wish she was in the film more, though. That's the thing. Um, for the role, but then again, like I said, it's a toss up because it's like on the one hand, I kind of wish she was more like we see more of her, but there's a mystery about her that had she gotten more screen time, there wouldn't have been a point in the mystery, right? Um, because then it would have been more of just her and Aku uncovering some of this information on their own, as opposed to her setting up the alley oop and he has to do the dunk, to use a sports analogy. Um, yeah, you know what? I'll use another geek analogy so you guys know what I'm talking about. She's kind of like Hermione. She's like the Hermione of the crew, because she's the one that has all of the the studies. She did the studies, and so everyone else is just using her information, to maneuver and whatnot. Anywho, but yeah, she's a pretty cool character too. All right, so real quick, some other things I want to mention. Animation is actually pretty good. I was surprised because, I mean, like, given, because we're talking 93. So here's the thing, that animation is about as good as it could get for this type of production 17 years ago. Wait, no, I'm sorry. 27. Oh, Jesus. 27 years ago. Excuse me. 27 years ago. Yeah, I I did not. Yeah, I just didn't expect this level of animation. This is the sort of thing you see in like big budget, like theatrical releases. So to say that, for an OVA, I was kind of shocked by that. It looks really clean. It looks really clean, and it's really detailed. That's the other thing too that I wasn't expecting. It's really, really detailed. Um, the character designs are pretty good. There's enough um there's enough variety in the characters to where they're all recognizable. You can easily tell them apart, which is another thing that's surprising considering we're doing a war movie. Because usually it's always what everyone's in uniform, right? Because they're soldiers. But they do a pretty good job in terms of the designs where you can easily tell these guys apart. So that was impressive too. Um, Okay, let's. Oh, and the action scenes, dude. Some of those dog fights are really freaking cool. And I'll throw another one out there. Remember what I said about the detail when we first get introduced to the two big ships in the movie, right? So the Aoba, and then when we finally see the stealth carrier Hell, the does the level of detail in those ships is ridiculous. For 93, dude, it's ridiculous. Especially, dude, that first shot of Hell when it's coming up over the horizon, and you do kind of like the Imperial warship at the beginning of A New Hope, where you just see the bottom of it and then it's just like coming into frame. I'm like, dude, pretty cool. And then in in the climax of the film, when we get inside Hell, and when we get inside pretty much like essentially like the I guess you could say the mainframe, right? Because it is sort of the operating system for the entire stealth carrier, right? So I guess you could say it's inside its mainframe. Dude, that's pretty wicked. I, I'm not gonna spoil what it looks like, but it looks pretty fucking trippy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, now we went full blown like 90s with this. Because it's pretty trippy. But it's cool. But it looks cool. It looks cool. Looks cool. So let's see. Audio wise, okay, so I watched the dub. I saw somebody ask me earlier if I watched the sub or the dub. I watched the dub. Um and the dub is actually pretty good. My only criticism about the dub, and I know it's the dub that has this issue. I'd be surprised if it's the same with the Japanese version. So remember that background information I gave you guys in the synopsis? Within like the first like 10 seconds, or 12 seconds of the movie, you get all of that information. It's like 3 or 4 paragraphs worth of captions that scroll up on the screen, and it's way too goddamn fast. Like, I pretty much paused it every paragraph so that I could read everything. Like, dude, like I said, it's like 10 or 12 seconds. It's like 4 paragraphs. Whoosh. And I'm like, okay, that's clearly the freaking dub that did that. So yeah, that's pretty bad. But in terms of the voice acting and like the casting, everything is good. The sound effects are awesome, and the music's pretty good too. I don't know if it's the main score of the film, but the score that plays at the start of the final mission when they're approaching hell, when you start hearing those drums come in, and it's almost like pseudo Terminator. It's like dun, 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 dun. That score is fucking cool. That one is cool. I was like, ooh, yeah, I like that. I like that. But I think it's only in, dude, like I said, I don't know if that's the main score because you only hear it in the film maybe once or twice. And I'm like, dude, and I was waiting for it in the credits too, but there was actually another score that played during the credits. So I was like, oh man, I want to hear that again. But yeah, even the credit score was actually pretty cool too. So yeah, music holds up, and like I said, it provides the right atmosphere. It gets you right in the mood for what you're watching. It's the perfect like scene setter, if you will. So yeah, that was pretty good too. All right, so coming up on 30 minutes, I got to go ahead. I got to wrap this one up. But final thoughts on Big War. Okay, for the record, number one, I do got to throw this out there for everyone. It is rated R. It is rated R because the violence is graphic and there is sexual content in the film. So for all my underage viewers, make sure you get your parents' permission before you go and check this out. Don't just be like, oh man, I saw, OAW was talking about this, and yeah, I just went ahead online and I found it. And I looked. No, ask your parents. Ask your parents. And for my view, because I have older viewers now, for those of you who are parents, if you find your kids watching this, make sure you screen it first. And if you catch them watching it and they didn't ask for permission and you didn't get a chance to screen it, get that belt ready. Have the leather in hand. That's all I'm saying. Gotta make sure I clear my bases now. If you're underage, ask for permission. If you're a parent, screen it first before you show it to your kids. Because like I said, it is graphic. It is graphic. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, man, dude, it was solid. Like, it was solid. I dug it. It was really, really cool. So I do recommend it, especially like I said, if you're fans of science fiction, you'll get a kick out of it. If you're fans of like war narratives, you'll get a kick out of it. And like I said, dude, I would even argue if you like either one of those movies I mentioned before, if you like either Independence Day or if you like The Faculty or if you like both of them, you'll probably really dig this movie, especially since this predates both those movies. You're gonna be like, wow. So check it out. But anywho, so that is going to wrap up my review of Big Wars. Once again, I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for tuning in live. Thank you, everybody, for watching after the fact. As always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Share this on social media with anybody you think might get a kick out of the video, or if you're trying to convince someone to check out the film and they need some convincing. Hey, maybe I did a job. Maybe I did the job in order to convince them. Hopefully, maybe I got intrigued some of you all to check this out because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have not heard about this OVA. But yeah, please go ahead, check it out. It is available online. You're gonna catch hell trying to find this on either a streaming service, and I think you still can find it on DVD though. It was released on DVD. I think you can still find it there. So go ahead and check it out. I would search Amazon because I think that's where I saw that they were selling it. So check it out. And last but certainly not least, I want to go ahead and once again another huge shout out to Jay Hollow. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, for requesting this review. Thank you so much. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, if you have a anime OVA, short film, or a series that you want to see me check out, first impression style review, become a patron at patreon.com/OAW and select the Crunchyroller tier. Once again, with your request, you also get access to all Patreon exclusive content. You get access to the OAW Vault, and you get an invite to join in on the live Q&A right here on the OAW Entertainment YouTube channel, as well as the OAW Facebook page. So once again, that is patreon.com/OAW. All right, guys. So that's going to do it for me. Keep an eye out on Friday because, apparently it's on, it's on YouTube. Really? How about that? All right. So keep an eye out on Friday. Top 5 is coming back. Top 5 is back this Friday. So I will catch you all there. Little teaser. It's going to be another anime top 5. We're going to be talking about some more anime this Friday. So you guys be sure to check that out. Anyway, I got to go. I got to get out of here. So with that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I am signing off, and I will catch you cats on the flip side. Peace.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?